The sun bled gold across the horizon, staining the Comanche plains with the colors of both life and death. The aftermath of a brutal raid lay silent, save for the wind whispering through the tall grass and the distant call of a morning hawk. Tuhaye, a once feared Comanche leader known as the Red Wind, now hung half-conscious from a rough-cut rope looped around a low tree limb. His warriors were gone, his enemies had left him for dead, and his breath came in shallow, painful rasps. Blood streaked his face, dust clung to his skin, and the world spun in fading shades of orange and gray. Somewhere deep within, the fire that made him a warrior still burned, faint but alive. As darkness began to settle in, a new sound broke through the stillness, the soft crunch of small boots on dry earth. Out from the trees stepped a little girl, no older than 10, her face smeared with dirt, her blonde hair tangled under a hat far too big for her head. She carried a small knife and a look of fierce determination. Her name was Clara Mae Dawson, the daughter of a settler, family that had fled these same woods when war, cries echoed weeks ago. She had been searching for her lost dog when she stumbled upon the scene, and the dying man who, by all logic, should have been her enemy. But children don't see the world the way grown men do. Clara didn't see a Comanche chief or a savage warrior. She saw a man bound and bleeding, a man whose eyes still held a spark that begged not to die. The rattlesnake came first, sliding across the branch above his head, scales glistening in the dim light. It coiled near his face, tongue flicking the air, sensing fear, or maybe the taste of death itself. Tuhaye's body tensed, but he couldn't move. His hands were tied behind him. Clara froze too, her breath caught, knife trembling in her grip. The scene was silent, timeless. The girl, the warrior, the serpent. Then something ancient and wild surged inside her. Maybe it was courage, or maybe mercy. She climbed the tree, small boots slipping against the bark, and inched forward, heart hammering as she met the rattler's cold eyes. The knife flashed once in the sunset glow. The snake's hiss broke the silence like thunder. In one desperate strike it lunged, but Clara swung faster, blade slicing air and skin. The creature dropped lifeless to the dirt below. For a moment all was still again. The girl trembled, staring down at the fallen serpent. Tuhaye's vision blurred, but he saw her bravery, and in his fading strength something changed. The man who had known only war felt the first flicker of peace. Clara climbed down, knife slick with sweat, and approached his hanging form. "Don't move, mister," she whispered, voice quivering but strong. She tried cutting the rope, sawing carefully until the fibers began to fray. With one last pull, the rope snapped, and Tuhaye fell hard to the ground, coughing, gasping as blood rushed back to his limbs. He looked up at the little girl, who had just saved his life, a child of settlers, a world apart from his own, and for the first time in years, he didn't see an enemy. He saw a spirit brave enough to stand between death and life. Clara dragged her small canteen from her satchel and poured water between his cracked lips. "You'll be okay," she said softly. Tuhaye didn't understand all her words, but her tone was universal. It was hope. The night deepened around them. Wolves howled in the distance. She made a small fire, covering it with stones to hide the light, and sat beside him, guarding the man she'd once been taught to fear. As stars bloomed across the vast Texas sky, Tuhaye whispered something in Comanche, a word that meant little hawk. It was what he decided to call her. The girl smiled, not knowing what he said, but feeling that it meant something good. In the shadows, two souls from opposite worlds sat beneath the same heavens, bound by the quiet miracle of compassion. The wind rustled through the leaves, carrying with it a promise that their story, though born in blood and pain, was far from over. And as the fire crackled low, Clara looked to the stars and whispered, "Mama always said, save who you can, even if they ain't one of us. If you believe in courage that crosses all boundaries, and kindness that can heal even the deepest wounds, don't forget to subscribe for Chapter 2, because the story of the Red Wind and the Little Hawk has just begun."